listening to Pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 125. Pause in parallel. As we go through life, as we walk on, we will pass through all kinds of different things. There will be one kind of situation, and then another. After that, a third kind of situation, and then yet another. There are different kinds of situations. There are different reactions on our part. We react in one way in the first situation, and then we react in another in the next. It comes down to facing the situation at hand and to pick up ourselves in our genuine reaction to the situation at hand. Wherever we go, whatever we stumble upon, there will be these two: the situation and our genuine reaction to it. Always these. Today's episode is called Pause in Parallel. A parallel is an alternative. A parallel is something that runs or walks alongside, but is something else. So if you and I would walk together, then we are walking in parallel. We are going the same way, but we are not the same. You are you and I am me. Pause in parallel means that pausing, our core skill to pause, as well as the pause framework of emotional skills, all the Polaroids, both of them, both the core skill pause and the pause framework, is a parallel to whatever situation life gives us. So we can see it as that life our life, our specific personal life, moves forward, always forward. And alongside this sort of lifeline of ours, we have pausing, walking in parallel with our life. And when we learn pausing, as we piece by piece, day by day, master pausing, the skill of pausing, then we will have two lines running alongside each other. We will not be left to our lifeline completely, not in an emotional sense. In an absolute sense, life is what it is, and we will never conquer life. We must submit ourselves to life in an absolute sense. But in an emotional sense, we can have this parallel line, this pausing line. And in that way, our life and pausing will feel like having 2 feet instead of just one. So, whenever our life gives us a situation that is challenging, confusing, difficult, then we pause for a second or 2, depending on how much the situation and we need. And then, as we have paused, we look around, both outside of ourselves and inside ourselves. We look around for a bit and see what we notice. And then, the more we do this, we will gain some kind of intuition or discernment what to do, how to act accordingly, what emotional skill to apply. So we walk along, we enter a situation, we pause for a second or 2, we look around, outside and inside. We see what we notice, and then as we get some kind of intuition, we act accordingly. We make use of the emotional skill that feels the most interesting. That is key. We make use of the emotional skill that feels the most interesting in this exact situation. This is what pause in parallel means. When we look at the infrastructure of our society today, we see that many things are undergoing change. The economic system is undergoing change. The technological aspect is undergoing change. The political landscape is changing. The cultural landscape as well. What people goes where is changing. Who is saying what is also changing. Who wants to stand close to whom is changing. And what we thought that we were is also changing. In such a time as this, when the great wheel is turning, if you will, then there will be much trial and error on all levels. There will be many changes, many comings and goings, many temporary solutions. So the lifeline, our specific personal lifeline, will include many differing situations. So the emotional feeling to our life will frequently change now. And through all of this turbulence, through all of these changes, through all of this spontaneity and short-term solutions, we will inevitably feel vulnerable. In an absolute sense, we must submit ourselves to all this change. But on an emotional level, a pausing level, we can also have something else. We can also have a parallel. We can also have this alternative running alongside all this fickle change. The prospect of fluctuating times can seem pessimistic, depressing, or bleak if we only focus on that we must submit to all these challenging changes. But when we also have pausing, when we also have this emotional craft that we can practice and get good at, then it doesn't feel as dramatic. It feels less dramatic. it still feels dramatic, very much so, but it feels a bit less dramatic. And the difference between completely dramatic and a little less dramatic can be significant. The real life difference between completely dramatic and a little less so can make all the difference. Often we think we have to choose one or the other. And many times that is true. But when it comes to pausing, that does not apply. Because pausing runs in parallel to whatever there is. In our lifeline, there will always be the situation at hand, and there will always be us, those two. Our reaction to the situation. And then we have this third thing. We have this craft, this agency of ours. And that is pausing. That is both the core skill, pause, to pause for a second or two, and the pause framework, the extended skills. And this third piece runs in parallel with the other two. So there's a situation, there's us, and then there's our agency of pausing. And our agency of pausing sort of connects our emotional reactions to things with the things in themselves. So, without pausing, we will have a difficult time connecting with the situation at hand. And with pausing, we will see where to connect. We will see where to find traction. We will see where to go. And the key is what emotional skill feels the most interesting to use here and now. That's it for today. Thank you.